Hey everyone, Peter McCarron here, and in this video I'm going to show you how you can use LaunchDarkly to build your next AI application smarter, safer, and faster. As AI becomes a bigger and bigger part of our applications, we want to make sure that we have some sort of platform in place that can help us control those rollouts or be able to seamlessly switch between models without having to redeploy the entire application. And LaunchDarkly can help you do this just like it does for any other features that you roll out. In this video, I'm going to show you how we can use LaunchDarkly's new flag templates to get started with things like rolling out different models or being able to switch between our prompts, show you how we can seamlessly switch between those models within our application without having to redeploy, and how we can use LaunchDarkly's experimentation to be able to gather information about how those models are performing and make informed decisions about our future. So let's get into it. So for this demo, let's imagine we're part of the Launch Airways team. Launch Airways has gone full in on their AI initiatives, and they want to introduce a lot of new functionality into their website so that their users can do things like get recommendations on the best travel destinations, interact with chatbots for support, and be able to give their top-tier customers certain travel insights about the destinations that they're going to. Now, fortunately, they use LaunchDarkly, so we can control all of that through LaunchDarkly flags. Typically, when it comes to AI, we're working with two different things. We're working with either the model that we're going to be introducing, or we are going to be working with the prompt. To help you get started, LaunchDarkly now offers two specific flag AI templates. We have our model template, which will give you some sample configurations and show you how you can do things like set your token counts or your temperatures for each of the different flag values. And we have our prompt template, which will help you to write the strings for both your systems or for your users. By using these, we can now pass in these values into our application and make changes on the fly without having to redeploy everything. So as we tune those models or as we tweak the prompts a little bit, we can do it via LaunchDarkly and have our applications automatically be aware of it. Let's take a look at some of the ways that Launch Airways is doing this through both the model flags and the prompt flags. The first feature we're going to get started with is Launch Airways' brand new destination recommendation engine. The whole idea here is that Launch Airways feels that they can use AI to create these curated lists of interesting travel locations, and this will hopefully inspire users to book flights through their portal here. So if we open up the Find My Next Trip, it asks where do we want to go today, we hit Let's Go, and you'll notice that we're going to start aggregating information and creating this curated list. The first model that we're using one of Cohere's command ones. And you'll notice that this is taking a little bit of time, but then we get a really nice long list of a lot of interesting information. So we get things like the Sapphire Coast, Great Barrier Reef, but maybe this is a little bit too broad. Maybe there's too much information here. And so the idea here is that Launch Airways might want to try out a different model to see what happens with the results that they get. So going back into LaunchDarkly, if we go into my destination recommendation flags, this is one of our model flags that we showed earlier. And go into the variations, you'll notice that we're doing things where we can test out different token counts. We can swap between different models. In this case, we're going to use Claude 3's Haiku model for our other variation, as well as do things like adjust the temperature and see what the results are that we get. So let's go ahead and turn this on, switch it over, go back out, and we'll rerun this. And now you'll notice that we're over on Claude 3. It goes much faster and we get a much shorter list. The nice thing here is that we have the ability to switch these on the fly, be able to tune them to get the exact information that we want to. Once we implement it, the next question that we might have is, how do our users feel about it? Which one do they prefer? And for that one, let's switch over to the AI chatbot to show how we can gather information about user sentiment and be able to do the same thing as far as switching between models. So one of the great things about using LaunchDarkly for rolling out your new AI applications is the fact that you can use LaunchDarkly experimentation to gather information about how they're performing or whether or not your users are enjoying that experience. So in this case, we've created this Chatbot Sentiment experiment. And what this is doing is that we are testing out a different variation of a number of models to find out which one is going to create the best user sentiment for folks. So in this case, maybe we have had really good success with Claude on our destination recommendation. So we think that Claude is going to actually be the one that performs best. And we have two different metrics that we're going to be gathering, whether they have a positive experience or a negative experience. And again, we're going to use a model flag, but we're going to try out three different models this time, where we can try, again, one of our Claude models. We may try out Meta's Llama or another Cohere one to see if we get a better experience with this one than maybe we got with the destination picker. And we'll roll this out as an equal rule to everybody. If I go back into the app here, the way we do this is we have our chatbot open it up. Currently, I'm interacting with Lambda, and I say something like, "Who is this?" And it shows that this is the Launch Airways friendly AI bot, and I could ask it different questions. Say, what is the current TSA policy on liquids? And we get an interaction, and it lets us know that, oh, you can only use 3.4 ounces. So maybe I'm happy with this experience. We check this, and it sends that information back to LaunchDarkly. And as we run this between different models, we can gather results to find out what our current user sentiment is. If we go down here, we've run a handful of results across our different models, and currently it actually looks like Claude Haiku seems to be the one. So this is validating our hypothesis. We're getting really positive sentiment. As you'll notice, our other ones seem to be not performing quite as well, but the other part that would be interesting to find out is, are there ones that are creating particularly bad experiences? Ones where users are really not enjoying it because we may want to avoid them. Because in this case, we might say, well, Claude seems to be the clear winner, but if this was much closer, maybe I'd switch over to Llama instead. And if I look at my other ones, we'll notice, oh wow, Cohere's Coral really doesn't seem to be creating a good experience for our users. So we probably don't want to use that one because ultimately we want to make sure that our customers are happy with us. Once we are feeling good about the decision that we make, we can instantly roll out this model and make sure that all of our users are interacting with that chatbot. Now, the other thing we've mentioned a couple times is this idea of being able to control your models or tune them for how you want to use them. But the other part of control is making sure that only certain users can access your AI features based on any limitations that you might have. So for the final piece, let's take a look at how we can use LaunchDarkly targeting to be able to control who the audience is for interacting with our new AI capabilities. The last capability we're going to look at is this new AI travel insights that can essentially take information about the destination that we're going to and be able to provide some interesting context about that location or maybe some interesting sites that I should see while I'm visiting it. Now, for the Launch Airways team, they want to actually limit access to this new capability because they want it to be one of the perks of being a platinum member of their Launch Club. So when they turn this new capability on, what we can do is we can control who has the ability to access this new AI capability. In this case, we're going to make sure that only the Launch Club Platinum members can access it. So if I go into my bookings, you'll notice that I have nothing here. It just says that I have a launch priority upgrade if I want it. But maybe some time goes by and I unlock my Platinum status. And now I get all the information, including that AI travel insights that we talked about. And now that's been added automatically without having to update anything or having to rebook my flights. The advantage here too is that we can also do things like change the prompts of those insights. So for instance, unlike versus doing the models like we did before, I could go and look at my different AI prompts that I want to try out. And in this case, maybe I have 3 different ones where one I give different travel insights just for general travel, ones with maybe a historical focus or weather focused. And then what will happen is that it can retrieve that information about the destination that we're going to, find some relevant information, and then I can play around with things like word count to find out what sort of responses I get back. And again, I can do all this interchangeably by just changing the variations of my flag versus having to recode it in my API and then having to re-push everything out through a CI/CD build. So this is how Launch Airways was able to introduce so much new AI functionality using LaunchDarkly. Thanks for watching.